Hey everyone, and welcome back. Today's video is going to be a product review and swatch video, and we're going to be talking about the Urban Decay Ultimate Naked Basics or Naked Ultimate Basics palette. Before I get started with the review and swatches, I just wanted to say I hope everyone was kept safe through Hurricane Matthew. I live in North Carolina, so we did get obviously tons of rain. Thankfully, in where I live, there was, no damage to the homes or anything like that, or my home or anything like that. It was just very heavy rain. We did lose power here and there throughout the day, but they were for short periods of time, so nothing to complain about at all. Obviously we were keeping up, watching it as far as, other areas and stuff, and, just thankfully we're all kept safe, and at the end of the day, that's really matters. So I hope you guys were safe as well. I also did want to just mention the MAB or the Middle Age Beauties giveaway. Sherry Nicholson is hosting it this time around. She is giving away a few items, and I believe that the winner will be announced, I think it's October 16th. So you have until now, until October 16th, and I think it's the 17th, I'm sorry, that the winner is going to be announced. So I will leave my intro for the rules and all that video down below, as well as Sherry's video, and then that will just tell you how to enter, what she's giving away, and all that good stuff. Alright, so on to this palette. This is the Urban Decay Naked Ultimate Basics palette. This can be purchased either at Urban Decay's website, or it could be purchased through Sephora or Ulta. This was $54. It has 12 matte neutral shades, so they're good for anything from cool to warm tones. Let's see what else. I'm going to be looking at my little notes. It says that there's 12 all new shades in this palette. Every shade is exclusive to this palette. I guess the shades in here are different from the shades that are in the Naked Basics 1 and 2. I never purchased those two palettes. I don't know. I never did. But this is what the outside looks like. So it's like a textured or like a raised like lettering. It's very pretty. I love the palette. The packaging is very pretty. Again, turn it around. There's nothing really on the bottom or on the back. You have this really nice square mirror, and then here are your 12 shades, and you have this two-sided brush right there. I never really play with the brushes, and I guess I should, but I guess in my mind, the brushes are not going to make or break the deal for me as far as getting a palette or keeping it. So it's not something that I really, need to really fuss with, I guess, or test out. But those are the shades right there. I will, at the end of the video, I will go ahead and, show you swatches of what they look like on my arm, as well as dupes that I found. This is the third palette that I've reviewed. The first one was the Kat Von D, the Metal Matte palette, and then the second one I just did was the Lorac Mega Pro 3 palette. So if you haven't seen those two videos, I will go ahead and link those down below. But basically what the website for Urban Decay is saying is that these are a proprietary pigment infusion system. It gives a formula, it's velvety texture, rich color, staying power, and blendability. I guess that's with all Urban Decay shadows. Each shadow, well, there's 12 shadows in all. Each of them have 0.04 ounces or 1.2 grams. I did compare it to the Naked Original palette, this one right here, just because they're the same like rectangular shaped shadows. So I did compare it to this one. This one has a little bit more product in it. There's 12 shades in that Naked Original, and that has 1.3 grams versus this, which is 1.2 grams. So there's not much of a huge difference. As far as this, the expiration date is, what is it? It's 24 months, I guess, after opening, where the Naked Original was 6 months. I was surprised that there was that big of a difference. Honestly, just being honest, I don't really pay too much attention to the expiration date on palettes, especially shadows. Just, I guess my personal opinion is, as long as there's no discoloration, or the texture or formula hasn't changed, or there's no odor or anything like that coming from it, as long as I take care of them, which I do, I'm fine. Yeah, so I've never had any kind of an allergic reaction or irritation from palettes that are older than, what their expiration date is. So Just putting that out there. These are made with no parabens. And so yeah, I mean, it's a beautiful palette. Like they said it is. It's just a neutral matte palette. These shades I can see being, you know, pretty on anybody from very fair toned, fair skin tone, all the way to your darker skin tones. As far as my thoughts on this, now I love, well, you guys know I love palettes period, but I really do love like an all matte palette. I feel that recently some brands, or the brands, have been coming out more with all matte palettes than before. So I do love seeing this. But I will say that as far as the shades, when I look at this palette, it doesn't really wow me too much. It really doesn't. The shades that I'm very drawn to is this lethal shade right up here, and this bittersweet, or extra bitter, sorry, extra bitter shade right here. This shade over here, this magnet, is almost like a, I don't know, like a grayish, or I think it's maybe a stealth in a different palette. I think is the name. Is it stealth in a different palette? I don't know. But I mean, this one's pretty, but I know I have this like in other shades, other palettes. But these two shades right here really are, I'm very drawn to. These shades right here, they're more of like a very light, like purple, mauvey type color, which again, I do have in other palettes. And obviously these you can find in pretty much any palette, as well as your browns. I did use this palette on the eye look that I have today. I will try to find a couple of pictures because I did do a couple of different looks with it. But basically I took a mixture of Commando and Tempted, and I put that on my transition area. I put extra bitter in my like outer V, and I put it in the crease a little bit. I took Magnet, that's what's on my lid. I first went ahead, I'm going in the wrong way, but I first went ahead and put Blow, and I put that on my whole eye just to set my primer. And then I used Pregame for my brow bone highlight. And then I also put Blow in the inner corner a little bit. And I used Instinct a little bit just to blend out like the this extra bitter shade. So I did use quite a variety of colors in my eye look today. And it's like anything with Urban Decay. I mean, I love Urban Decay shadows. They are very pigmented. They do have a little kick up when you do put your brush in there, but there's no fallout on your face once you apply it. They blend great. The staying power is great. They don't crease. So, I mean, all that is great. It's just, for me, when I did go through my other palettes, I have these shades in other palettes. And like I said, the couple of colors that I really were drawn to in this palette, which was these two colors right here, I did find in another Urban Decay palette. So I would say this palette is, again, if you're a, eye palette junkie or an eye palette collector, then yes, you would love this palette. If you're a person who loves all matte looks, then you would absolutely love this palette. This is a great palette to have, if you do like all matte looks, because you can make a lot of different looks out of this just doing all matte. But also too, just to use this and then have, or use this as a companion palette. But like I said, for me, this one is going to go back. And for those of you who are new to my channel, I'm horrible with returning things. I just don't like to return things. I never do return things. But I'm starting to work on that. I did actually return the Tarte palette. It was the holiday palette that was exclusive to Ulta. I returned that. I was going to do a video, but I honestly just didn't really care for it at all. So I just mentioned in one of my videos that I did buy it, but after playing with it, I just returned it. But I am going to return this. And if you see in the dupes, if you stay till the end and you look at the dupes, the colors that I really am drawn to of this palette, I did find in the other Urban Decay palettes that I already own. So for me, I don't need it. Like I said, even though I do love all matte palettes, it's just, I don't know. It just, like I said, it doesn't excite me too much when I look at this other than these couple of shades. So that is my 2 little cents on this palette right here. I will show you real quick the palettes that I did, compare. I was sort of, it stunk in a way because I did have the Urban Decay Smoked palette, the Urban Decay Smoky palette, and I had Urban Decay what is it, Naked 2 and 3. I did have those 4 palettes, but I just sold them. They're not in my house except for one, but they're not in my house anymore. So I couldn't use those palettes to compare this this palette to. So I will show you the palettes that I did go through to see if I could find any dupes. So this one is the, what is this? This is the Vice Limited Reloaded. I went through the Vice Limited, or the Vice Palette Limited Edition. This is Vice 4, Vice 3, Vice 2, and, ooh, this is all falling, and the Urban, what is this, the Gwen Stefani palette. So those are the palettes that I, went through as far as comparing this Ultimate Basics palette with. And I will say that a lot of the dupes that I did find were from the Gwen Stefani palette. So if you have the Gwen Stefani palette, then you will see, in the dupes that I show, there are quite a few dupes from here, to that one. Again, the dupes are, some of them are pretty much exact dupes, and then there's some of them that they're a little bit off, but like I always say, if you were to put one on one eye and the other one on the other eye, I don't think that you'd be able to tell, and that's just my personal opinion. As far as when I say, like in the description box, if I put like unique next to these names, where there's not like a dupe name mentioned, it just means that out of the palettes that I have, I couldn't find like a dupe for it. So I just put like unique, so that it's basically saying that, I couldn't find a dupe that, whatever's in here is sort of unique to what I have. But I will say though, the shades that were unique that I couldn't find, one was Nudie, which I'm sure we all have something like this in our stash somewhere. The other one was Commando, which again, these two, again, I'm sure we have them somewhere in our stash. I know that I do. The other one was Instinct, and this is like a purple mauve color. I know that I have that. Let's see. Pre-Game, this is basically that, that creamy nude shade that you use for like your brow bone. And let's see, Lockout was one, and this is basically a medium matte brown. And the other one that I had as sort of like a unique, but not really, is Blackjack, and that's just a matte black. I'm sure we have plenty of matte blacks in our, if you have some palettes in your palettes. So again, out of 12 shades, 6 were unique, but if you really look at the ones that I say that were unique, I'm sure that you guys have this already, somewhere in your stash. And like I said, for me, the colors that really stood out with these two, those I found in, I think both of them were in the Gwen Stefani palette. Let me see. Was both of them? No, okay. This one I found in the Gwen Stefani palette. And then the dupe for this one I found in the Vice 4. So, yeah. So again, that's just my, those are just my thoughts. Like I said, if you own, some of the other Urban Decay palettes, I don't think you need to run out and buy this. It's, $54 is a lot of money and stuff for a palette. And so I would rather just return it and then save that and then wait for something else that's, like I said, that really wows and excites me when I look at it. And when I look at that one, other than really those 2 shades, I don't get wowed or excited. And if I don't get wowed or excited in the beginning, well, then I know that I'm not going to pull it out of my drawer to use it. I hope you guys enjoy these videos. I know some people might be like, well, she just did like a palette declutter video and she's buying more palettes. What is she doing? And I know, but like I mentioned, even in a low buy, that, I will always continue to buy palettes because that is probably the biggest thing that I love to buy is eyeshadow palettes. So I'm never going to stop buying them. I do want to be more selective in what I keep and what I actually, return. And that's a big thing for me too, is I don't want to keep things anymore that I know that I'm not going to use. So I want to get better about returning, which I have. This will be my second palette, I think, in a week that I've returned, versus, I think, since I've been really doing makeup or collecting makeup, which is maybe 4 or 5 years, that I haven't returned anything. So So this is really big for me because, like I said, I normally wouldn't return anything, but it's making me also too, when I, you know, get a new palette that I've been buying and then I have other stuff from that brand and I spread it all out my bed, I'm swatching and everything, it's really making me be like, you know what, you really don't need to have this palette, you can return it. Now there are just some palettes that even if I do have probably dupes in other palettes, I'm just going to keep because I just think the palette is just absolutely stunning. And so I will keep it for that reason. But like when I look at this, I don't think it's like a stunning palette. It just doesn't, like I said, wow me. I'm sure I repeated myself 500 times, but you get what I'm saying. So yes, this one for me is going back. I would love to know if you guys have this, if you do own the other palettes that I mentioned that have a couple of the other dupes. And like I said, everything will be in the pictures and they will also be in the description box down below. But I would love to know what your thoughts on it. If you do have this, if you are keeping it, or if it just didn't wow you, or if you absolutely love it. I am a person who, when people write on the comments, if like say I'm returning this and they say, oh my God, I can't believe you returned it, I love it. I'm so glad that you do. I don't get annoyed or bothered. If people have a different opinion than me, that is just it. It's just my opinion. I'm sure there are people that agree with me and there are people that are different, you know, that think very differently. And that is okay. I actually, you know, like it when, you know, you guys are like, oh no, I love this palette, blah, blah, blah. That's awesome that you found a palette that you love and that you'll go ahead and use. But yeah, for this one's going back to the store. Yeah, so hang on because the pictures are coming up in a moment. And that is it. I will see you guys in the next video. Don't forget to check out the videos down below with Sherry Nicholson and the MAB giveaway. And don't forget to check out my other 2 product review and swatch videos. They will be linked down below. I hope you guys have a blessed day and we'll see you in the next video. Bye guys. Mwah.